listen up, y'all. It's the queen of automation, Megan Donnelly, here to give you inspiration. Founders and business owners gather round. I'ma show you how to build systems that'll astound. Streamline your processes, no need for complication.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Queen of Automation podcast, where we talk about why technology is only good when it works and how I help you make it work. Today is going to be so fun because I have with me today Steph Vrona, and I will let her introduce herself, but all I'm going to say is she is taking the cannabis industry by storm. And we'll get into that a little bit later because there are so many kind of hoops she's told me about that she has to jump through and like get to where she needs to be with her business and her career. And she is doing such a fantastic job of navigating the world of this industry and all of its regulations and whatever other things. And I don't even know. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So it's great. I'm going to have her introduce herself because I want her to tell you all about what she's doing with retention marketing for the cannabis industry and how she's yet navigating that landscape. So Steph, welcome. Tell everybody where you're tuning in from and let us all know about how wonderful retention marketing is in the cannabis industry.
It's great. I do it for a living now. Hi, I'm Steph Vrona. I am founder of HighDef Studio.
All about it.
It's a very small one-person boutique agency. Yeah, it's just me.
I'm going to make her do this because this is my favorite thing that she does. And we always call her out. We are both members of the Brand Built community. And I always call her out because she does this thing and we all love it. So we always have to make her do it. So Steph, you have to introduce yourself the proper way, the Steph way.
Okay. Hi, hello, good morning. I'm Steph Vrona. I'm founder of HighDef Studio. We do marketing operations and lifecycle and retention marketing specifically for the cannabis industry. I've got 8 years of retail cannabis experience. Left my last job, honestly, just kind of sick of CEOs telling me we need new customers. You don't take care of the customers you have now. So definitely a hole in the space. And I was like, I'm going to go fill it. So that's what I do. I build retention programs, all based on data, all based on what you have. If you're a new dispensary, plenty of data that can help you, not a problem. Marketing operations, though, is really where I shine. It's not just retention and lifecycle marketing. All of your departments have to work together. So retail and marketing cannot be siloed. They need to get along. Finance has to be involved in the decisions. You need to have compliance in to make sure that you're sending the right messaging. That's what I do. I make the umbrella, and everybody's very happy under the umbrella or else.
And I absolutely love talking to you because we speak the same language, and it's so fun talking to somebody else who gets it, because a lot of people are like, what does that mean? Like, what does operations mean? I mean, it means everything. And they're like, well, don't you niche down? I'm like, no, because it's everything. Like specifically, it's all the stuff because it all works together. Now, you've niched down, specifically into the cannabis industry, and I'm a little different, but it's amazing how much is included in marketing operations, in business operations, and all. I mean, it includes everything. Like you said, it has to all work in harmony. Otherwise, it doesn't work at all. And then if one of the gears is out of sync, it's a cog and it's stuck. It doesn't actually work.
And I just thought I was crazy, the only one able to point it out. And funny story. So what is operations? I do get that question a lot. And I also didn't know what operations was until about a year ago. I was talking to a friend and he's like, Steph, why don't you just offer marketing operations services? I'm like, what the fuck is that? And he explained it to me. I'm like, so you're telling me that marketing operations is all the parts of running a marketing department that I absolutely love and none of the parts of the stuff that I hate? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, I had no idea. I just thought you had to do all of it. I know how to execute. I don't like it. I don't want to write your copy. I'm not a great copywriter. Yeah. I'm not a graphic designer. I would rather outsource those things and have a team member that loves and likes and is good at doing it. That's not me. I'll set up all of your systems though. You want full top to bottom customer life cycle journey touch points with 9 different messaging depending on what it is. I got you. Making me make your graphics and actually executing that, I hate it. I hate it. It's not for me.
I did
my time.
Actually, man, we were just doing this for something, and Andrea and I was like being so nitpicky, and I get to the point where like if I do graphics, because I did earlier in my career start out as a user experience designer, but it's for like systems, right? Like I'm designing user experiences. It's totally different than graphics, right? So when I do graphics, I get so like I get sucked in, and I have to work like every little thing has to, and then I'm like, this is stupid. I've been staring at
It's
this for an
stupid.
hour and have literally moved like the text over half an inch because I feel it's too crowded. Nope,
Yeah,
not doing this anymore. Like, this is
I've
awful.
told clients that ask me like, "Hey, Steph, will you do our graphic design?" I'm like, I'm not. Are
No.
you sure you want to pay me to do that? Like, if I'm gonna take 3 times as long as someone that's good at it. I'm not a
Yep.
confident designer, and they ended up saying, yeah, and they like stuff. So, I mean, I'm not bad. I'm artistic. Like, I have a very creative brain, I would say. But when it comes to work stuff, I spent 2 hours on a flyer for my own company and hated it. I didn't have that 2 hours to
Hmm.
begin with. Outsource that shit.
I agree.
It
I
worked.
agree, and it's like a perfectionist thing, right? Especially with anyone
Oh,
who has an
man.
ADHD like brain like mine. Like, oh my god, like it's so outsourcing is an amazing resource. Just do it. Like it's so worth it. I have to tell
Delegation's a skill
you,
set. I didn't know that.
yes, the other thing that's so amazing for outsourcing and delegating is like work-life balance, quote unquote. I hate this. I ask every one of my guests to come on to talk about how they feel about this because it's so interesting to hear everybody's perspective. As you know, and I'm sure you've heard me talk about it before, I don't believe in work-life balance. I mean, there's only one of me, right? Like I can't clone myself because if I could, I'd be a bazillionaire. Um, and you can't separate work and life. Like your work is your life. Like you can't separate. Even if you work for somebody else, you still only have one life. Like it's just funny to me, and I would love to get your take on it because I know you are similar to me in the sense of like outsourcing and delegating when you need to and have to. That's what keeps us sane.
Yes.
That's what
So
keeps the work-life balance integrated whatever in a happy way. I don't get it.
so
I don't understand the concept, and it's such a buzzword these days. And I wish everybody would just shut up and stop talking about it.
well, okay. So, and you don't have to answer this, but have you been to therapy for your ADHD?
Yes, a long time ago when I was a teenager.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
see, I'm
I've
I'm one of those
been
people that go ahead.
say I've been on my journey learning about my brain and how to work with it and not against it. Or yeah. I learned that being an ADHD person, that is an ADHD problem. We we have so much going on in our brains. Compartmentalizing is incredibly difficult for an ADHD brain. And I initially went into therapy because my entire self value was centered around work. And I would spiral if I thought I wasn't doing well at work, or if, God forbid, I got let go from a position, or I just like wasn't feeling it anymore. If my boss was again, like whatever the ridiculous case was. I
Hmm.
wanted to work on that and separate it. But that's where we get our positive reinforcement. That's where we get the most of it. And if we try harder than 99% of the people out there, because we're ADHD, that's what we do. There's a lot more praise that comes with that than criticism. And people are less likely to criticize you when you're putting in the extra effort because it's already still leaps and bounds better than that standard that I had. So COVID ruined me. After COVID, yes, work-life balance. Work is life, yes, but there is such an unhealthy aspect of that, only in the sense that because we're in a capitalist society, our times not separating that work-life balance is just making the rich richer. There needs to be, don't separate work-life balance if you're truly enjoying what you're doing for work, right? Because then it doesn't feel like you're working, that old saying. But like you
Right.
got to compartmentalize. Like now, second year in business, no, I have days I shut that shit off. Saturdays, good luck getting a hold of me on a Saturday. My phone gets yeeted. I don't exist. If you need something, no, you don't. Call 911. I
Right.
can't do
I
anything if
get
it's
that.
on fire
Right.
anyway.
So it's funny that you say that. I feel like so ADHD in the business world right now is all over the place, right? And I'm one of those people that I'm kind of watching this like, ooh, like looking around like, where the heck have you people been? I was diagnosed when I was like 16 years old. So I've been dealing this, and I'm in my 40s now. I have been dealing with this for a very long time, way longer than a lot of my peers in the business world, right?
Absolutely.
So I've had a long time to like figure it out. And for me, it's less about compartmentalizing, which is love that word. Anyway, it's less about that and more about the dopamine hits, right? And so I'm not talking about needing to separate it or combine it. What I'm saying is, as a human being, you get up and you go to work, and that's still part of your life. That's what
Yeah,
I mean.
absolutely.
So like when people are trying to say they're like separating it, I'm like, you're not truly separating it. So you have to figure out working on work and working on life, or so that's kind of how I look at it. And I guess maybe it is that word.
I got you. I got you.
Compartmentalizing. I mean, maybe that is what I'm doing, and I finally figured it out. But I look at it and I think, okay, today I'm gonna do life stuff, like personal life stuff, and I'm not gonna worry about work. And tomorrow I'm gonna do work stuff, and so that's kind of how I think about it. So same goes for me on like the weekends and stuff like that. What I love about being an entrepreneur is that you do you, right? Like you pick and
Yes.
choose. I pick and choose
I
whenever.
get to do whatever I want.
I usually
There's no
work
one
4
telling
days
me I
a
got to
week.
be at my desk at 7.
Right? I work exactly. I try to work 4 days a week. If I choose to work on a Saturday or Sunday, it's because I want to and not because I'm supposed to. And if I choose to take off on a Wednesday, it's because I'm taking off on a Wednesday for whatever reason, or I'm not.
Absolutely.
I'm just not
You have that
work.
autonomy.
And it's one of those things where, yeah, and it's not even like you're not taking off. You're just choosing. You're making a choice to not work on work. You're making a choice to choose life that day, or your personal life that day. And so what she was talking about earlier, by the way, everybody who's listening, is dopamine, right? Like, so ADHD people need dopamine to, like, everyone needs dopamine to survive, but we lack dopamine. Like it's like when you have low iron. We have low dopamine to begin with. Now, some
doesn't
people
feel
will get
good, not
diagnosed and
doing
they'll
it.
go right to medication to like raise their dopamine levels. I refuse to use medication. I just, it's just the narcotics. I just don't think I need to take a class 1 narcotic to make myself function. But that dopamine is real. She's not kidding. Like dopamine is the thing that we need to thrive, right? Like, and we are always looking for that approval and always looking for, I don't remember the word you use, but we're always looking for the affirmation of like, somebody's like, yeah, you're doing this good.
Yeah.
You're doing good. You're doing good. And that's just the way we're wired, because it makes us smile, which gives us a dopamine hit, which then, yay, we're doing great. So now we can kind of go on to the next thing. And now we're doing great at this, and we're going to go on to the next thing. And without that,
super easy to fall into workaholic mode.
We sink into this like funk of depression. Yeah.
So, and I mean, I think a part of what you might be talking about too is like really what's your mentality with work? Are you working to live? Or are you living to work? And it's like if you're working like a corporate 9 to 5, you have to have that work-life balance because you're stuck probably in an office for 40 hours a week, plus an extra, hour a day in commuting. And then you have to like prepare stuff on Sunday or Sunday scaries, whatever. And it's I'll never go back. I will never go back to working for a company. I don't think I could do it. Unless I had just as much autonomy as I do now, making a shit ton of money. That's not happening. My husband's going to Vegas in a couple of weeks, and he's taking 2 days a week off this week so that we can get the house prepared. I have 2 4-hour gaps each of those days blocked to help him do that. What's my boss gonna say?
I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing. The only person that I have met today, the only person that I have met to date, and I think that he was a member in the community before you had joined. His name is Josh McLean. He actually works for Nike, and he's an amazing person. I will have to introduce you because he's one of the coolest people I have ever met and talked to. We had him on the podcast, and he has figured out how to do this whole like work for corporate and not hate yourself successfully. Like, I don't know how else to say it, like not hate it. And he's you know what, his big thing, you should go back and listen to his episode, because he talks about, he has done such a great job of setting like rules and regulations for himself. Like, he doesn't let them take more than he's willing to give. I am leaving the office at 5 o'clock. Done.
That's a privilege.
Move. And after 5 o'clock until the next day, that's it. You, just because I'm salary doesn't mean that you get to take advantage of my time. And he's doing it so well that Nike is paying him a shit ton of money, and he's making but he's enjoying his life. And so I think that if I could do that, like if I could still enjoy my life and figure out, like you said, and figure, but I just can't, because my thing when I was working corporate is I couldn't leave with shit on my desk, or like in my inbox, or like I had to finish it. I had
Yeah,
to finish it because I thought
but
if I didn't
those were
finish
your
it, then it
standards.
would be,
You imposed
even
those
though the
standards on yourself.
deadline was,
Yeah.
yes. And so, exactly. So I was putting the pressure on myself when it didn't actually exist, because the deadline is 2 or 3 days from now. But because it's left there unfinished, I would sit there, and work a bazillion hours a week. And it just didn't work. And you
No.
can't do the same thing. Like, you can't get up and walk around every 15 minutes. You can't. So there's just
Oh,
those
no,
types
I
of
got
things that
called out
don't
for
make it
that.
conducive to my brain and how I work. Like, I need to get
A
up every 20 minutes and walk for 5, and then come back and sit and then work and then do it again. And that
accommodation.
just doesn't work when you're in an office, right? People look at you weird. At least they
Not I
did
mean,
me,
not
because
even
I did
that.
do it for a while, and I was like, what are you doing?
I remember I was working in an office environment, and most of the office smoked, and I didn't smoke. So I would, every hour when they would go out to smoke, I'd go out with them and just take like a 5-minute breather. Not any longer than what
Yeah.
they were taking a smoke break for. Oftentimes I came in before they were done smoking. I had a boss call me out, like, what are you doing? And I'm like, just taking little breaks throughout the day just to sustain. He's like, you're not allowed to do that. They smoke, you don't. I'm like, I have to take up smoking if I want to get a 5-minute break every 2 hours? What are you, insane? That guy was insane. That
Wow.
guy was insane.
Seriously?
And it's like, hearing Josh's situation, I feel like that's a unicorn, but like that's just not how the cannabis industry
Yeah,
is.
he's
We
totally a
it
unicorn, by
is
the way. He's just a cool
very
guy.
strapped. I hear that and I'm like, I don't believe you. I don't believe that you have the autonomy to tell your job, like, nope, 5 o'clock, I'm done working. That doesn't exist in my world. I'm working the least I've ever worked, and
Sometimes
I'm
I feel
still
like,
clocking 50 hours.
I don't know how he's made it work, and like we didn't get like
Good
super
for
down in the
him.
weeds, right? It's like 25-minute podcast, but his story is amazing. In fact, I have his book right there, The Catalyst. This is his book.
Catalyst? Hell yeah.
And he's just a really, really cool guy. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, I'm going to introduce you, because you should just pick his brain. He's just a really cool guy to talk to in general. But
I'd love to meet
I
him.
want to talk. Let's move on to what we're really here about, now that we've beat work-life balance with it. Yeah.
Does exist.
I want to hear all about, no, but seriously, I want to hear all about operations in the cannabis space, because I know a few now of you now. We have a couple other members that are in the cannabis space in Brandville. And I find it fascinating, first of all, because I listen to you, the three of you, talk, and, when we're on our live calls and stuff like that. And I'm like, I have always thought, well, maybe I'll get into the cannabis space. And I'm like,
Don't do
nope.
it. Don't do it.
Because the hoops that you guys have to jump through, and I don't know what I don't know, so that's why we're going to have this conversation, because like, you can't post on certain platforms. Some software won't even let you use their software because they don't want to support the cannabis industry, or like, there's all this just weird red tape, like, all
weird.
over the place. And you have like, well, here's the non-red tape, and here's the red tape. Like,
That's what it feels
how the
like.
heck do you get anything done? Seriously.
So
I want to know. I want you to tell me how you get anything done.
I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's kind of a dumpster fire. And if you're not, you have to be a little bit delusional to succeed in this industry, because it is very exploitative. Is that the word? They'll exploit the shit out of you if you give them an opportunity. And that's just how it is. So oftentimes low paying if you want to get in from the bud tender side, and we're going to get into ops, don't worry. But what ended up happening is, because these larger corporations don't allow us to use their platforms like a MailChimp or like a Telnex or like texting or whatever, people made their own cannabis specific companies. So in my world, like running my own business now, for me, understanding it adds a layer of complication, because I can't just hire anybody to help me. I'm going to have to train them on a very proprietary platform that's very specific to that one platform, that doesn't really carry over into anything else that they would do other than that one platform. Or I have to pay much higher rates and find someone that is experienced in that platform. So I'll figure that out. But they just ended up making their own. So we have our own ad companies, our own PPC companies, we have our own website companies, our own texting companies, email companies.
It's insane to me.
It is insane, because the software, no hate, I love you all, is garbage. It is like a one of anything that you would get in the real world, to a point where like I'm learning things. There's companies out there that are like your all-in-one system, your point of sale, your e-com, your loyalty, your texting, your comms, your back office, etc. That sounds like a horrible idea to me. But in the normal world, the real world, that's very normal to have it all centralized under one, like Salesforce, for example. They do
I have an
a boatload of
all-in-one.
things.
That's our system. Yeah.
That scares the shit out of me, because if your point of sale goes down, that means your e-com goes down, your texting goes down, your loyalty goes down. Like, and if you're telling me you're separating these across multiple servers, no, the fuck you're not. I don't believe that for a second. If you could manage that, I'm sorry, it just blows my mind, because they're barely good at being a point of sale company, but now they want to do everything else. Maybe don't. Maybe keep your mid point of sale and work on that first.
It's crazy because, so
sorry,
most of the all-in-ones,
because I gotta struggle with these platforms, and it's frustrating.
Most of the all-in-ones, so like the all-in-one that we do, well, no, it's okay, because there's a lot of people that think that way, and it's valid if you come from a world where everything is siloed and everything is separate and whatever. But the platform itself, the base platform itself, things could go down without taking other things down because of the way the platform is built. The base structure of the platform is built to always be up 99.99999% of the time. And each of these things, even though it's built, it's like stacking tech, right? So the baseline, the core baseline, keeps everything up. And sometimes, because it could be a code thing, it could be somebody installed a JavaScript, something, and so there's multiple factors that can take down each thing.
Normal world, right? I want to believe that. Yeah. For the fact that the point of sale goes down every single 420 and you can't handle spreading that across servers, so that doesn't happen, doesn't give me a lot of hope for you.
Wait, saying they really all go down on 420?
They're the biggest one. Every single 420, their system crashes. Every single 420. Yeah. And every single 420, people still continue to use them because they're the biggest out there. And I just don't understand. But okay, no, this last one, it only went down in like New Jersey. So you gotta give them credit for that.
Like the most ridiculous cliche, stupid, like, oh my God. Okay, anyway, whatever. If you guys don't know what 420 is, I don't know where you've been living, like under a rock or whatever, go look up what the meaning is, and then you'll know why I'm laughing at that. That's so funny. Anyway, I can't help you if you don't know what that means. I have to go back to something that you said, because I was thinking as you were saying, and like as it came out of your mouth, I was thinking to myself, what the hell? Okay, first of all, we are still talking about something that is not legal across the entire, it's not federally legal.
Nope.
And they make a crap ton of money. Crap ton. So why are they paying you? Like, this is what I don't get. I've heard this before. They're like, they try to cheap it out, right? Like they try to, like you just said it. And I'm thinking to myself, what? Like, so are you kidding?
There's a lot of moving pieces with that.
The medical world, they probably have, I shouldn't say probably, but I'm saying probably because, again, I don't know what I don't know. I'm assuming they have like fines and fees and costs that they have to pay to be medically licensed or whatever the heck. I mean, maybe they don't, because I've heard it's really not that regulated, because it's not federally mandated right now. So there's no federal regulation. So the only reason I say this is because I do have a friend who is in this industry and has his own dispensary and like does CBD and Delta 9, but then also does real THC cannabis. And I know how much he makes. And he makes a shit ton of money. So it's just funny to me that they're like, we can't afford that. Yes, you can.
So, so in terms of your friend, Delta 9 and normal cannabis and THC, it's all literally the same thing. It's the exact same thing. It's just marketing.
It's just
Delta 9
it's just
is
a smaller, whatever.
Because, though, he's on that CBD side, which is less regulated than the cannabis side, and it is state by state, but that aside, and he's able to ship his Delta 9 products, that is where it's not regulated. Normal dispensaries, though, totally different ballgame. And I am not justifying or making excuses for low wages in dispensaries. Pay your fucking bud tenders more money. I don't know what you're doing. Fix it. It's just gotten worse, but there's a lot of other things to consider. Like, we in the cannabis industry cannot write off marketing expenses. Taxes are completely different. Banks won't work with us. pretty much a cash only business in a lot of places. There are shelving fees and a lot of shady shit going on behind the scenes. There's reciprocation on sales. So it's like being a salesperson in the cannabis industry is also kind of a joke, because the only way you get your product on their shelf is if you carry their garbage product on your shelf. So if you don't have a dispensary in a lot of states, you're kind of screwed.
Wow.
There's a lot more that goes into it. So it kind of makes sense.
This is the red tape I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah,
there's all
but
of this.
it was
This
all
is
set up
exactly
so
why I
that the
wanted to have
biggest
this
ones make
conversation.
money. Do not be confused, people listening.
Right.
It was set up to benefit the
Like
richest
medical
and the
Mary, right? Like
biggest.
the medical
It was
Mary.
not set up to benefit the
Yeah.
people. And they won't legalize it and federally decriminalize it or whatever until it makes the top 0.05% richer. Trust me, that will not happen. It will be made all political. I'm petrified for that to happen, because we're already moving to single cannabinoid products, like just a CBD or a THC gummy. I can't consume those products. They're not medically viable for me. But then I don't want to wait 15 years for like the craft scene to come back. Look at what, like, I'm not comparing to alcohol, but look at like alcohol. It was all Miller Lite, Bud Light, whatever, Keystone. Craft beer came along and now everybody has opportunity. That's going to take years in cannabis. I don't know. Don't do that. Don't do that. But that's what they're doing. They grow the cannabis to be highest THC. They extract the cannabinoids. It's all botanical terpenes. It's a bunch of bullshit marketing. Yeah. It's exhausting.
It's just fascinating. It's fascinating to me because it's like in this, again, this is totally 100% just an opinion, but they're just being stupid about it.
Yes.
In my opinion,
I miss medical. I miss it so much.
Just federally legalize it across the entire freaking country and tax the shit out of it like you do with alcohol and cigarettes and be done. Like, if they would just do that, it would make life so much easier. But they're not going to.
Pfizer has to get their cut.
Whatever.
Big Pharma has to get their cut. They have to be able to control it first. They got to get their piece.
Yeah. It's just, it's just hilarious to me. Anyway, so I love the retention side of your business. And you know what? I'm just going to say this. You'll be fine, because you know what? At the end of the day, retention marketing is something that you can do outside of, you know, just that space. And
I want to.
You have people like me in your corner. So you know what? You can hop on over and have a conversation with me when you finally decide that, that you don't want to deal with the batshit crazy anymore. And we'll just kind of like help you pivot. It'll be fine. It'll be great.
I'm ready for
let's
that.
Talk about the retention.
Should onboard a non-cannabis client. It's on the list. Working on passive income. It's on the list.
We're going to have a conversation, because I feel like, it's going to happen. I want to talk about why retention marketing is so cool, because it's the thing that people don't talk about in the marketing world, because everybody just wants more. I want more leads. I want more sales. I want more leads. I want more sales. I want more. Well, why are my current customers angry at me? Because you're not paying enough attention to them. So then they leave, and then in comes Steph, like, hey, what'd you do to piss your customers off? Because you had like 100 of them, and they were paying you money. Did you pay attention to them
every single day?
Did you send them an email every week? Like, it's so much easier to keep a customer than it is to get a new one. And then when your customers are super, super happy, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go, hey, Steph, check this out. You should use this because it's amazing.
Yes. Don't go there. Go here. What do you mean you had to wait 20 minutes for a pre-order? Come here. You'll be in and out. Like, it's not hard.
Like, it's really not this hard. Like, so talk to me about your experience and why you even kind of got into that, because like I said, it's almost like the redheaded stepchild of marketing. That's what I feel like sometimes. I feel like retention marketing is the afterthought of after you've lost 80% of your customers and you want to win them back. Then you're like, maybe I should focus on retention marketing. Yeah, maybe you should have did that like 3 or 5 years ago.
No, really. So, I mean, this is my 7th or 8th year in cannabis. It's been a long time. My entire career, every CEO I've ever talked to, we need more customers. We need more customers. You need to bring in more customers. Acquisition. Honestly, I hate that metric, because what ends up happening, and I can speak in my last role, driving 1,000 new people to the dispensary every month, but very few of them were returning. And we're like, okay, why? started digging through reviews, started going through stuff. Turns out our receptionist was kind of an asshole. You're not going to be the receptionist anymore. Those bad reviews stopped. And it was great. I ended up getting let go from that role. Didn't do anything wrong. I know that never goes over, whatever. But anyway, the thought of working for any other company, nope. The thought of working for another cannabis company and being exploited the same way, nope. So I kind of sat down for a week and I'm like, you know what? No one talks about retention marketing. Like, it is the main thing that I have done for all 3 of the companies that I have worked for. We have built loyalty programs. We have built community. I'm going to start doing retention for customers and connected with everybody. I have a solid foundation that applies in any platform that you want to use. I am platform agnostic. And honestly, it would work for outside of cannabis too. It's really just good for retail in general. So there are a couple other people in the space that do offer retention marketing. They're phenomenal. You should also check them out if you're only interested in that part. But I combine my marketing ops and retention because like your loyalty program and your retention program will fail if your lifecycle marketing is not in check. If retail and marketing are not aligned, retail is not going to echo the things that marketing needs to make that retention program work. You have to have the scripts. They have to be involved in what's going out. They have to know. Well-oiled machine, and very few dispensaries have that. Not only because they just don't have the staff, but they're doing their best with what they have. And a lot of people in cannabis were promoted from budtender roles, or they come in because they're passionate. They don't necessarily have like the specific skill set to rock that job, and there's very little training in the space, which is also something I provide. I will write SOPs and train your team. My goal with my clients, I want you to work me out of a job within a year. I want to teach you everything that you need to know to maintain your programs on your own, know what to look for.
To run it
And then you have
yourself.
a team that has better skill set. Promote them into other things. Hire more people. Grow your teams. And it gets retail excited too when they get to participate and suggest offers and rewards and then seeing them succeed. Yes, you want to have retail's input. Team effort. I'm big on team. Teamwork makes the dream work. I'm going to go cancel myself now.
No, but it's so true because it's funny because you're doing the exact same thing with the cannabis industry that I'm doing outside of the cannabis industry in the sense that, and there are, we have some overlap, but there are definitely some differences because we're actually building systems and software for these big companies. But the thing that we do is we work ourselves out of a job, but it's not in a bad way. We build it in such a way because you know what? It's really freaking expensive if you want me to run your operations on a monthly basis. Very expensive. And so it's like you're looking at 4 to 5 figures, depending on the size of your company and what I have to do to keep it running. So instead, we offer packages for a little bit less, right? And so then they hire us and we work for them for maybe 6 months. We build it out, we build it and get it going like a well-oiled machine, do all the SOPs, and then we can turn around and train like a specialist or a VA or somebody like that to run the ops. And I'm like, this is going to be much more cost effective for you in the long run, which is how we sell our business, right? Like that's how we get customers in the door because they're like, that makes sense. Because these people are spending ridiculous amounts of money on ops. These bigger corporations and bigger companies spend like ridiculous money on operations, which it's a real issue. Like you don't have to do that. You can do this and have simple
over time, like your fee turns into a retainer fee.
Amount of money.
It works great. That's the ideal client, but I know realistically, like, I don't think I've ever seen a marketing team in cannabis, even on a like multi-state operator level that was larger than 40. Actually, maybe 3 people, maybe 3.
And what I've also noticed, and you tell me obviously you've been directly in the industry way longer than I have. I had a cannabis company approach me. This was probably right before COVID. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, right before COVID. And it's funny because they weren't technically they were in the cannabis industry, but the guys running the company were not from the cannabis industry, which was the only reason this company was successful. Because the guys that were actually dealing with the cannabis side of it, these were not business guys. And I feel like a lot of, and maybe that's not all the time, but the cannabis guys that are popping up all over the place are not business entrepreneurs, right? Like they're not that kind of entrepreneur. It's and that doesn't mean that's not bad. I'm not saying like it's a bad thing. It's just different.
It's
like they
right
don't
people, right
have
seats.
like you said, it's not the skill set. Yeah. I
I'm
can't
not an
even imagine.
accountant.
I
Please
can't
don't
even
give me
imagine.
math. There's a reason I work in marketing, and it's
Right?
I
Yeah, absolutely not. I
no,
think
seriously.
not for me. Yep, yep.
I mean, more often than not, the story is you have investors that come in that don't come from the space and think they can run cannabis, and then they try to run them like restaurants or like liquor stores, and they fail. So it's important,
Yeah.
and honestly, I feel like rare for non-cannabis board or investors to come in and actually hire the talented people in cannabis that can like run their business for them on that front. There is some truth that
Yeah.
cannabis people that are trying to run cultivation facilities, you grow amazing weed. The business stuff is something you want to learn, but ultimately not your zone of genius. You should have a partner that
Yeah.
has that for their zone
Hire
of genius. That
someone.
would be ideal. A lot of times that doesn't happen though. And it's cannabis also has a huge community aspect of it as well. And there is a lot of discourse between legacy operators and those that came into the space. Like I've been in the space for almost a decade, and there's still people that will tell me you cannot claim that you're in cannabis. That's fucking ridiculous. Shut up. That's insane.
What?
So because I didn't go to jail for cannabis, I don't get to say I'm in cannabis. Like, bro, shut up.
Are
No
you
way.
serious?
Oh
That
yeah,
actually
there's tons of
happens?
discourse. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, Lord.
It's an interesting space. It's a
It's
huge
a
community
really
aspect. So it's
foobarred
like
industry.
MSOs don't have a good reputation. It's a bunch of mids for a high price. Patrons want what patrons want. And sometimes the markets dictate how it's run, but that's not always great. Like Arizona, great example of a market that's run by patrons. We have BOGOs on a lot of brands pretty much every other week. You cannot operate in the state without offering BOGOs. Do you know how insane that is? You know how often we run BOGOs in other states? Fucking never. Because why? And I
Right? And like, do
tell
you
them
really
all the
want to
time
become
out
a
here.
discount brand?
Well,
Yeah,
but if
no.
you run BOGOs all the time, what are you going to do for special events in 420? You're just going to give it away for free? You got to save the good stuff for like the days that you want to drive the traffic. You can't just do it every day. Because the thing is, right, if it's always 20% off, why would I ever pay full price for it? No, I'm not going to buy it on Tuesday when it's $60 because I'm going to get it on Friday for $30. People don't need weed like that. Not on the adult use side. Medical, they stock up on what they need and you don't see them but maybe every 6 weeks.
That's insane.
You have to
Like,
understand your customer.
oh my God. We are at time and there's so much that we could unpack, but you know what? I'm going to have you back on because I
That went so
know,
fast.
I know that because I know like in 6 months you're going to have, because I won't tell anybody, but I know you have some really exciting, cool things happening in the pipeline. And in 6 months, I want to have you back on. I want to talk about those cool things that I know that you're running with. And even just to see, because I feel like cannabis industry is changing like on a weekly basis. And there's all these
Oh,
new
yeah.
things like popping up and so I would love to just revisit the conversation because it's hilarious to me the way that it's run. And like you said, it's a dumpster fire. Like it's just
It's a
this
total dumpster
shit
fire.
show. Everybody throws a bunch of shit up in the air and then like whatever lands in this circle right here, that's what we're going to do today. And it's just like, it's great. Anyway,
It feels
tell
like that
everybody
sometimes. It
where they
does.
can find you so they can follow your journey. Yes. Tell everybody where they can find you so they can follow along with your journey and just even if they just want to reach out and chat with you, or if they want to learn more about the cannabis industry
Yes.
or even retention marketing and how you're using it. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
LinkedIn is one place.
Yep.
And we'll drop that
LinkedIn
in the show
is my
notes. But
main business
where else
channel.
do you want to
Heck yeah, you
Yeah.
can find both myself, Steph Vrona, and HighDef Studio on Blue Sky. I'll have some YouTube content coming out, but LinkedIn and Blue Sky are really the two main ones. I do have a website, HighDef Studio. Please don't judge how that looks right now if you're looking at it. I know. You don't think I know? I know. I know what it looks like, okay? I know. Feel free to book some time though. I am an open book.
Oh,
Gatekeeping is
I
not
know
what
what
I
it
do.
looks like. That's all right.
So
We'll help
yeah,
you. It'll be
no,
fine.
thank you. This was fun.
All right, guys. I want you to go and find Steph on LinkedIn and follow her content because it's great. She has an amazing sense of humor, and her content on LinkedIn is just awesome. And remember, everybody, we're signing off for now, but remember, technology is only good when it works. We will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.